Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man, BTM here, bringing you back to the BTM Crypto News Network. The chair got stuck there for a second. But yeah, we are back. We're live. We're talking about XRP making headlines with the crypto crash, the FUD attacks, or is this the final shakeout before the takeover? And we've been telling you guys for months the Clarity Act was a setup, guys. These guys are not trying to pass that. They're just trying to get a lot of commotion and get a lot of emphasis on crypto so people will start to FUD it. And just when you think it's going away, just when you think everyone is getting out of the market, the prices will start to take off. And these guys are buying it cheap, right? Because if you follow crypto, you know how this works, right? This is when you get in, not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes. But this is when they sell, right? It's them selling that's driving the price down. And while they're selling, they're going to drive the price down and buy it cheaper and then turn around when it pumps and sell it right back to us again. What up, Silver? Thanks for joining. Hardest working man in crypto. But let me see. Let me go to, I got a couple of shorts lined up. You know how we do. But a couple of quick ones before we get into it. XRP is trading around $1.09 with intraday high of $1.18 and low at $1.09. So the $1.10 area is the key battleground right now that supports your danger zone shakeout angle. Let's see, where are we? It is at $1.10. CoinDesk reported that XRP fell from about $1.17 to $1.11, touched lows near $1.09, and saw a large breakdown volume spike during the June 5th session. That is important because it shows the sell-off was not just random noise. Volume accelerated during the move down. The broader crypto market is weak too. Reuters reported Bitcoin's having the steepest early year decline in more than a decade, with investors' attention rotating towards alt or AI stocks, major IPO narratives. That helps explain that XRP is not failing in a vacuum. The whole risk market is under pressure. A major bullish XRP narrative is still institutional adoption. Ripple says XRP ETFs represent a new institutional era, while also reporting that XRPL daily transactions hit 3 million on March 15, 2026, and real world asset tokenization on XRPL has grown to more than 200 or 474 million. That supports the XRP takeover narrative from the utility angle, but not as a instant price guarantee. Ripple has also described XRPL as the infrastructure for institutional DeFi with tokenized financial compliance tools, real-time settlement, and asset layer programmability live on the mainnet. And that is a serious story behind the hype. RLUSD is another utility native. Ripple said Binance listed RLUSD on the Ethereum with XRPL support coming soon, and describes RLUSD as a building block for payment, remittance, and institutional DeFi. So let me know what you guys think. But let's get to it. Welcome back to the BTM Crypto News Network. XRP is making headlines. The crypto market is bleeding. and the FUD is louder than a smoke detector with a low battery. Today, we're asking the big question: is XRP getting destroyed, or are we watching the final shakeout before the takeover narrative gets real? So, before we start, type where you're watching from and type one word: crash or shakeout. And let's get to the shorts. Let's see here. Start the screen share and see what we can see. So this is the XRP coin market cap. Coin market cap says it's down 5.14% on the day to $1.10. Market cap is 68.35 billion, down 5.14. And 24-hour trading volume is 3.45 billion, down 2.4. So let's get to a couple of shorts and we'll be right back.
Out. But this has been very slow and controlled and methodical. And I don't think that tempo is going to change much. It might quicken. Let's say the reverse carry trade unwinds and Japan raises interest rates. What is your best estimation of timeline for a significant price rise? Days? Best guess? Days? Could be faster. I tend to think, and I could be wrong, happy to say I was wrong if I'm wrong. I think my opinion with that, they will start driving liquidity into XRP while all of that is happening. Because if they don't, the downward pressure of the rest of the market could suck it so far down that it might not be able to recover and be used. So I think you're going to see XRP start to rise very quickly and aggressively as those things start to culminate into bad situation for markets, because they would rather be a little bit proactive than like reactionary at the last second. And that, I would say, has been corroborated by the pace at which they've moved things here. I thought it was going to be a very quick thing when I first put the domino theory out, but this has been very slow and controlled and methodical. And I don't think that tempo is going to change much. It might quicken, and then it'll be, they say trickle, flood type situation where it's, very slowly and then all of a sudden. I do think that that's going to be a thing. So all that being said, I think that the price rise will happen extremely rapidly, but up to a couple days, post reverse carry trade unwinding. Let's say the reverse carry trade unwinds.
So shout out to Jake for that. Next short is Crypto Sensei. Crypto Sensei has a lot to say today.
It feels like from when I listen to all of these chart analysts for months and months and months, I don't hear them talking about us going lower than that point. They do think that would be the lowest. To me, in previous cycles in these years, right, that we had just a brutal June for XRP, the one thing we didn't have here, well, a few things we didn't have here is ETFs. I'm not saying that ETFs are going to be able to save us from anything, but we do have institutional buying where you have selling coming from Bitcoin, you have selling coming from Ethereum, you have people going into XRP, you have people going into Solana. And if XRP starts to go down to like $1, right, these institutional investors are not thinking like, hey, XRP just dropped 20 cents, I need to panic sell my whole bag. These people are thinking 5-10 years. Like, these are the timeline people. They're used to buying stocks. They're buying this thing forever, right? And when it goes up to a certain price, maybe they'll look to take some profits, but they understand that this is a long-term position. It feels like from when I listen to all of these chart analysts for months and months and months, I don't hear them talking about us going lower than that point. They do.
And almost nobody holding XRP notice. For years, the strategy against Ripple was simple. Delay, keep the application. The Federal Reserve just got put on a 90-day clock, and almost nobody holding XRP notice. For years, the strategy against Ripple was simple. Delay, keep the application sitting in a drawer. But a new executive order just took forever off the table. The Fed now has to decide on master account access within 90 days in writing, yes or no. That is not a guarantee. It is something better. The question can no longer be buried. Architecture first, price second. If you want help actually building out your plan, join my waitlist below. The Federal Reserve
So shout out to Crypto Sensei and Camila Stevenson. This is Paula Talk Crypto. Let's see what she has to say real quick.
XRP price has come all the way down to $1.09. And right now, there are two completely different XRP communities watching the price. One side is screaming, "We told you so, XRP is finished." And the other side is saying, "This is exactly when you should start paying attention." And honestly, that divide is what makes XRP different from almost every other crypto. Because people don't argue about XRP like another coin. They argue about it like it represents the future or the biggest lie in crypto. Because at $3, the XRP lovers thought it was going to the moon. At $1.09, the XRP haters think the dream is finally over. But this is what's interesting. The louder the hate gets, the more emotional the market usually is. And emotional markets don't usually make rational decisions. Because if everybody was truly done with XRP, why are people still so obsessed with proving it wrong? So tell me honestly, who's right this time? XRP price has come all the way down to $1.09. And right now, there are two complete.
So let me know which side you're on. Are you on the it's gone side, or this is just the beginning side? And I've been telling you guys, I think this is just the beginning. This is the shakeout. They are doing all of this FUD right before the Fed makes a decision about the crypto and the master accounts. And once everything starts moving forward, if you notice just watching crypto, or if you've been in crypto for a while, you know they do this from time to time. Whenever something big is coming, there's lots of FUD, there's lots of information to shake you out or to give you doubts. And the weak hands exit their positions, they sell, the price goes down, and then out of nowhere it starts pumping like crazy, and people are like, "Oh man, I wish I wouldn't have sold. Oh man, I wish I would have held." Bro, I'm telling you firsthand. Same thing happened with Ethereum when they stopped letting people mine it and they went to proof of work. Ethereum is over. Ethereum's done. Now look at it. Same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's done. The Bitcoin price is over. The Bitcoin had its heyday, and then it started going up like crazy. But in general, summer is not a good time for crypto, right? From June and July, right? It's kind of stagnant. August is okay. September is the worst month. After September, things start to run. But I think there's going to be a slight run in June. People are going to get flooded out. The price is going to start running crazy. They're going to FOMO back in. The price is going to go up, and then people are going to start to sell off around August and September. They're going to drop their positions again, and it's going to go all the way down. And when that does, it's going to go crazy in October and November. But we'll have to wait and see. Not financial advice. I'm just telling you from past experience. What up, Tyrone? What's going on with your fam? This is Digital Asset Investor.
I think that Vet's got it just right here. People call for the death of crypto or death of XRP right before the biggest regulatory clarity for crypto. Come on, folks. Come on, folks. You can't see what's going on here. This is easy to spot. I think that Vet's got it just right here. People call for the death of crypto.
And that's what I was saying, guys. They're trying to shake you out. Why is it always the sky is falling? This is the worst that crypto can get. And then all of a sudden, everyone starts getting out of crypto, and then the price starts going the other way.
The current FedNow system, the new system that the US has, that is not a blockchain-based system. So what private company in the United States would they go to speak to about, transitioning to a new system? I think Ripple obviously has a seat at the table. You look at the US-UK transatlantic partnership, they're discussing upgrading their financial infrastructure together. Ripple has been in those meetings. You look at the White House when they're discussing the Clarity Act, Ripple has been in those meetings. You look at what happened is going on in Japan. You look at the central bank testing that's happening in Australia. They're testing the XRP ledger. Now you have JP Morgan doing tests with the XRP ledger and MasterCard. I mean, there are so many signs that we should be paying attention to right now that are screaming that XRP's utility really hasn't shown yet. But once it does, you think the price is going to be $1.30, $1.25? Do you think we're still going to be speculating, or are we going to reach whatever the utility value of this asset's supposed to be? That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm waiting for. And that's what I'm here to be with you. Transition to that.
So shout out to Crypto Sensei. For some reason, the freaking mute button is getting stuck. But yes, I agree with him 115%, guys. Every time something like this happens, right? It's all the crypto is over. We were right and you were wrong, and everybody's opinionated. And then all of a sudden, it gets quiet and the price starts pumping out of nowhere. Like Jake said in the beginning, this is the setup, man. It's a fake out, right? It's these guys know, like somebody else said, it was playing the whole time, man. They're playing on your emotions, right? Just like the stock market. Everything's cool. All of a sudden, the stock market goes down, people sell, and a little while later, it starts going back up, and people is like, "Oh man, I should have bought more when it was down." And these guys bought it all up, right? Let's see what Zach has to say.
Up at $1.33, and then yesterday I had buy orders that I'd placed back. XRP could drop below $1, but I'm not waiting around to start dollar cost averaging. I filled up at $1.33, and then yesterday I had buy orders that I'd placed back in February finally filled at $1.22 and $1.21. And there's something to be said for just sticking to your guns, having a little bit of patience, and letting that market come to you. Because over the past 3 months, we've had rallies up to $1.60, $1.55, and I didn't buy into any of those bull trap rallies. I didn't change any of my orders, and my analysis stayed true. Just yesterday, the market came back to us, and I got the notification while I was actually holding my newborn son that my buy order had been filled at $1.21 for XRP. So I'm still loading up, not waiting for XRP to drop below $1, although I do understand that potential is there. But I'm going to be getting my orders in front of $1 so I don't miss this one. You guys can let me know what you're doing. Full updates dropping on YouTube right now.
So do you think XRP will continue to drop below $1? Let me know in the comments.
They're going to decry that is.
Go back and watch some of these, so I gotta reset them.
Let me make an XRP prediction for you. I'm looking at a Ryan Selkis tweet where he's basically hemming and hawing about cryptos didn't turn out the way he thought it would. This is one of the guys that hated Ripple and XRP, and he eventually left crypto. Let me make a prediction here. When XRP wins this thing, and when I say wins, I mean is one of the top 3 crypto that just takes over. When this happens, guys like Ryan Selkis and all these people that have been fighting XRP and talking bad about it for all these years, they're going to decry that is crypto failing. They're going to say that crypto failed. See, look over there at Ripple and XRP. Crypto failed. Watch. Just write it down. That's going to happen. Let me make an XRP prediction for you. I'm looking at a Ryan Selkis tweet where he's basically hemming and hawing about cryptos didn't turn out the way he thought it would. This is one of the guys that hated Ripple and XRP,
and that's what I was saying. I think that people are involved in fighting it, so you get out and they'll be like, "Oh, let's get back in." let's get back in cheap because we pushed the price all the way down. And then all of a sudden, where's there no sound here?
How business operates or businesses operate globally. Think if you're a business and you're doing operations anywhere in the world, the old system where you had to use FX and you're sending a payment and it has to be turned into like yen and you're paying a fee on the swap, you're waiting days on this. Now you can just send something in 3 to 5 seconds. It can go from the euro or the US dollar into XRP, into yen, and have that payment done instantly. That's going to reshape how business operates or businesses operate globally, hands down. And every business and every large institutions are going to race to the technology because they know that their customers are going to demand it. And if you cannot deliver these technologies, you're just not going to have a customer user base. So you're going to have just this explosion of investment, and you're going to have this explosion of people having the ability to buy crypto assets. Like you go into Chase Bank right now, you can't go into Chase and ask the teller, hey, can I buy some Bitcoin in my account? But in a few years, you're going to be able to go and the Chase teller is going to say, hey, would you like to add some XRP to your account, right? Like, what else can I do for you today? Did you want to buy some crypto? Did you want to have any stable coins here? Do you want to earn some yield? Like, that's the conversation you're going to be having at the teller in the days to come. And I think that's going to be a powerful moment. Think of
That would be crazy if you could go into the bank and actually buy crypto. But I do think there is regulation coming for that, guys. There's more around the corner for crypto than people are ready for.
It feels like from when I listen to all of these chart analysts for months and months and months, I don't hear them talking about us going lower than that point. They do think that would be the lowest. To me, you know, in previous cycles in these years, right, that we had just a brutal June for XRP. The one thing we didn't have here, well, a few things we didn't have here is ETFs. I'm not saying that.
And I think we looked at this one already. Keeping it moving, looking at the bubbles, and look at this, guys. There is literally nothing. There is literally nothing green in the market today, which is also another big sign, right? I could see if some of the market was down, but the entire market down is almost borderline manipulation. I mean, come on, guys, right? Like we've been here before, and every time it bounces back harder. Not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes, but you can clearly see only thing red is Caspa, which is also kind of weird. But Zcash is down 33% today. SQD is down 15. Ton token, which was just up yesterday, is down 13.1. Kita's down 9.2. Solana's down 5.5. Helium is down 9.9. Jasmine's down 9.9. ZK's down 13.2. Algorand's down 11.4. Arbitron's down 9.3. Ondo's down 12.8. Pit's down 10%. Polymesh is down 8%. ETC, which is Ethereum Classics, down 7.9. Turbo's down 7.7. Filecoin is down 17.4. Airdrone Financial is down 10%. Helium, Hyperliquid is down 12.3% to $59. Tripping. World Mobile Tokens down 7.4. Bears down 9.2. Near Protocols down 19.1. Zebek is down 14.1 to 0023. HBAR is down 6%. Quant's down 7%. And the crazy thing is, don't panic, guys. Don't panic, sell, don't wig out. The entire market is down, right? It's not this crypto or that crypto or something happened. The whole market's down. It's like the whole stock market's down. It's not an individual crypto problem. It's the market risk off sentiment across the board. Trump coin is down 11%. Sui's down 8.9. Stronghold is down 5%, which is actually hanging pretty strong, actually. Down 5.4 on the day, 0.8 on the 4 hour, unchanged on the hour. For the week, it's down 14.8. For the month, down 2.9. And for the year, down 43.3. Tau is down 8.9% on the day, up 1.6 on the 4 hour, up 3.2 on the hour. Might be a good time to get in because the like it's starting to bounce back. For the year, we're down 43.3. For the month, 35.9. And for the week, 22.1. Theta's down 8.8%. Jupiter's down 12.8. Injective is down 11%. Monero's down 8.6. Bitcoin Classic is down 10.5. Flux is down 13.9. ICP is down 21.4. I wonder what that clown Bansfield's up to. I bet he is cussing up a storm on his channel. World Liberty Financial is down 9%. Link is down 6%. Flare's down 5.9. And let's look at the market movers. Bitcoin is down 3.4%, down 0.9 on the 4 hour, up 1.3 on the hour. On the week, it's down 17.2. Wow. For the month, down 24.7. And for the year, down 39.6 to 61,338. It was at 60,000. So it looks like there is some rebound in the works. Ethereum is under 2,000 at 1604. It might get down to, actually, it was at 1,500. Down 9.4 in the day, 2.9 on the 4 hour, up 1.2 on the hour. For the week, we're down 21.3. For the month, we're down 31.7. For the year, we're down 33.7. And on to our favorite cross-border remittance payment processor. You can see it used to be number 3. Now we're down to number 6. We're below Tether, below Binance, and below USDC, which is kind of interesting. So we are at $1.11, down 4.2 on the day. On the 4 hour, up 0.4. On the hour, up 1.5. For the week, we're down 15.7. For the month, 21.6. And for the year, 46.6. And it's weird. All these guys are coming out about crypto's over. I wasted time in crypto. So the first little bump in the road and people panic and start FUDing crypto and start saying it's over. It's done. It was an experiment that failed just because of a couple of bad days, right? And this is the overall crypto market cap is down to 2.1 trillion. And I was just talking about when we're going to get out of the 2.2 trillion, and we did, but we went the wrong way. So it's down 5.53% on the day for the overall market. CNC 20 is $124.61, down 4.36. Fear and greed. We are back in extreme fear, and I love it, right? That's what I want to be, because you can buy it up for relatively cheap, right? Not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes. But when there's red in the street is when you buy, from Warren Buffett, or when there's red on the charts. And you can see here clearly on the hour, things are coming back up. So it didn't take long for folks to shake out, drop their position, wait for those buy orders to hit, and the price run back up. So this is CoinMarketCap is at $1.11, down 4.5%. Market cap is 69.1 billion, down 4.56. 24-hour trading line 3.5 billion. So let's go over to this. XRP continues to stand out despite a weak price action, with XRP ETFs extending their inflow streak and avoiding a single day net outflow since April 30th, bro. The Zcash situation is a reminder that trust is everything in crypto. A critical bug reported could have allowed counterfeit Zcash to be created. Really? And even without a confirmed exploitation, the market reacted hard. Watching sentiment shift in real time on Being X has been interesting. When questions emerge around supply integrity, confidence can disappear fast. XRP inflows, going to check on those inflows in a minute. Micro season is here again. CDI data, Fed speeches, earnings, job reports, and this is usually where the market makes big moves. Personally, watching Bitcoin, gold, and NASDAQ closely this month, once unexpected inflation print could change everything fast. Are we getting a breakout or another volatility shakeout? What is your prediction? Look at liquid. I think we did look at liquid. Hyperliquid down 13%. Whoa. Holy casmoly. Down 13.2% on the day. I don't know why liquid's getting hit so hard. That's kind of weird, right? But keeping it moving. ETF terminal. So spot is, let's refresh this real quick. Spot is 19.3 million. Leverage trading is 12 or 20.7. So it doesn't look like the ETF market's affected too much. So Bitwise is down 2.39% to 11 or $12.51, 10.5 million in total volume. Franklin Templeton's down 2.37%, $12.17, 4.8 million in today's volume. Canary Capital's down 2.50 to $11.88. Total volume is 2.89 million. Grayscale is $21.73, down 2.33%, 793,000 today's volume. Rex Offspray is down 4.58%, $9.17. Today's trading volume is 295,000, and 21 shares is down 2.17 to $10.81, 89,000 and today's volume. Derivative market, Tercom 2X is down 9.571. Wow. To $2.46, $11.48 in today's trading volume. Volatility shares 2X is down 9.60% to $26.18. 6.4 million in today's volume. Volatility shares is down 4.98 to $6.21, 1.34 million in today's volume. Pro shares Ultra is down 9.21 to $11.93, 1.3 million in today's volume. And Amplify 3% is $6 and or 6.06% down to $10.97, 214K in 24-hour trading volume. Keeping it moving. XRP Ledger is distributed asset value 384.5 million, down 11.29%. RWA count is 302. Represented asset value is 3.6 billion, up 17.4% on the month. Stablecoin market cap is 879 million, up 81% on the month. Really? RWA holders, oh wow, is 105, up 275% on the month. That's what I'm saying. Long term, things are up. It's just the short term. You got to be careful watching short term volatility, because we can see here. I remember when this was in single digits RWA holders. Now it's up to 105. Stablecoin holders 58,900, up 1.32%. RWA 30-day transfers 54.1 million, down 59.02 on the month, and 30-day transfers is 4.5 billion, up 118%. So maybe there's some FUD spreading, but the FUD is wrong, folks. So this is the XRP radar. In escrow is 35.7 billion. It was 36, so I guess some escrow left. XRP burnt is 14.3 million. RLUSD is 1.7 billion. Exchange holds 14.2 billion. ETFs and indexes is 914. So they're getting closer to a billion. These ETFs are going to be at a billion soon. I remember when that ETF value was 250 million and 100 million. Now it's already up to 914 million. DeFi is 280.4 million. Tokenized RWA is 1.6 billion. And the treasury is 473. So going down to on exchange 12.9. Upbit lost 7.2 million. They still have 5.49 billion, 38.5% of the exchange. Binance, again, as usual, as confirmed, nothing's happening. 2.3 billion, 16.3% of the supply. BitThumb added 6.6 million. Wow, how they add 6.6 million? The market's down. That's weird. That doesn't make sense. How do they add 6.6 million and XRP is going down like crazy? 1.8 billion of the on-chain supply, which is 13%, upholds unchanged at 1.6 billion, 11.4%. BitBank added 773 to 577 million, 4% of the on-chain supply. Coin check lost 43,000 to 555 million, 3.9% of the exchange supply. Ichiro's down 50K, 482 million, 3.4% of the exchange supply. Crypto.com 2.6 million down to 332 million, 2.3% of the exchange supply. Coin 191,000, 316 million, 2.2% of the exchange value. And Bitflyer added 194,000, 189 million, 1.3% of the exchange volume. So going over to X, Senate announced to restart the crypto market structure negotiation today. Clarity soon. Don't hold your breath on it. Banks are all in. Bank of America just appointed global head of digital asset transformation to lead its crypto strategy. The biggest financial institutions are no longer watching from the sideline. They are building. XRP is ready for what is coming. Make sure you sign up for the BTM Crypto News Network to stay current on news and events. People don't understand how big the XRPL MasterCard partnership is going to be.
People don't realize how big this is going to be, but MasterCard expanding their settlement network to include Ripple's RLUSD and the XRP ledger is something that we've been waiting on for a long time now. And I cannot wait to see the positive side effects of that in the long term. huge announcement from MasterCard. A lot of people don't realize how big this is going to be, but MasterCard expanding their settlement network to include.
So keeping it moving, this is XRP is making headlines again. Reports claim XRP reached 137,000 on a private ledger. A massive 2.5 trillion media and digital commerce opportunity is emerging around the XRP ecosystem. Say word. What? What is this?
XRP. I know they have a private ledger. Yeah, no. So I don't think they're using another XRP. I know they have a private ledger and a public ledger. I've seen the private ledger once. I've seen the price go as high as $327,000. And you could see this on one of my shorts when it hit about $10,000, $9,000, I think. I've commented to about 20, 30 people at least that I saw it go to 327,000 on a YouTube video once that was live in Japan. And from 5 minutes, a 5-minute YouTube video. And I've seen that the private ledger does exist. The public ledger also exists. Now, how do they keep them separate? Through nodes on the XRP ledger, right? The thing is, what the merge of the private and public, I think that will happen when this utility starts to come on, right? Also, I don't want to lose my train of thought. The XRP ledger, the private ledger, right, and the public ledger, at some point, they're going to have to, how would I say? There will be a merge at some point, guaranteed, but we have to have that regulation first and that clarity before they go ahead and utilize them. But yeah, no, so
And so how do I transfer my XRP to this private ledger, right? This is worth a whole lot more on the private ledger. The Senate has 80% Republican, could even pass the SAFE Act. Couldn't even pass. Republicans voted against what the F. Yeah, clarity this time around is doomed. I told you guys. I agree with you 100%, Tyron. Oh, Black Rue is here. Tell Rue what up, man. But yeah, these guys don't want to pass crypto, right? These guys are waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and I suspect once everything shakes out, they'll try to make a run at the end of the year, but they don't want crypto to pass. They're stalling like everybody else is stalling. So let's start with the facts. XRP is around the $110. Actually, 100 just went up a little bit. That matters because psychologically, $1.10 is where traders start acting emotional. Under that, people start talking about $1. Above that, bulls start saying, wait a minute, maybe buyers are defending this thing. And clearly they are, because it looks like it's coming back up. But we have to be honest, XRP has been hit hard. CoinDesk reported XRP dropped from $1.17 to $1.11 and touched near $1.09. And the volume accelerated during the breakdown. That tells us buyers were active. That is not something we ignore. When the volume spikes on a red candle, that is not the market giving you a hug. That is the market checking your seatbelt. This is not XRP is dead. This is XRP is at a decision zone. The crypto crash is bigger than just XRP. Now, here is where the FUD gets tricky. People say XRP is crashing because XRP is weak, but the broader crypto market is also under pressure. Reuters reported Bitcoin has been facing one of its roughest starts in years. with capital rotating towards AI stocks and huge IPO narratives. That matters because when big money rotates, it does not ask your favorite coin for permission, it just moves. Crypto traders are blaming XRP like Bitcoin isn't outside sipping on the same banana peel. Do you think this is XRP's specific weakness, or is this just the whole crypto market getting slapped? Type XRP and type market, and clearly it's the entire market cap. I mean, the entire crypto market, because things are moving like we knew they would, guys. This is not a surprise for anyone deep into crypto, but maybe uh, weak hands and people new are wigging out. Um, FUD attack breakdown. FUD gets louder when the price gets weak, and that is how the market works. When XRP is green, everybody says institutional adoption is coming, right? Everybody is moon boots in all the way live. As soon as that red candle hits, people start panicking, start getting weird, I never believed in crypto. Crypto was a scam. Crypto was a joke. I lost all my money. Soon as that green candle comes, everybody's on back in. Crypto's awesome. Crypto's to the moon, right? So it's weird. Soon as it starts going down a little bit, panic gets crazy. Adoption's coming. When XRP is red, everyone says the project is finished. Same coin, same ledger, same Ripple headlines, different candle color. And that is why you cannot let emotions be your trading strategy. Break the FUD into 3 buckets. Real concern: XRP lost short term support but needs buyers. Market fear: crypto selling off broadly. Fake panic: people pretend one red week cancels years of infrastructure. Some people don't analyze charts, they just wait for red candles and start typing like Batman is in the room. So, for the final shakeout or a real breakout, a shakeout is when price drops hard enough to scare weak hands out, what we're having currently. Then buyers step in and reclaim key levels. A breakdown is when the price loses support and cannot recover. So, how do we tell the difference? Watch for confirmation. For XRP, watch bullish shakeout signals. Price holds near the $9, $10. XRP reclaims $13. Where are we? At $10. Strong volume comes in on green candles. Bitcoin stabilizes. XRP pushes back towards $1.17, $1.18. Bearish breakdowns signs. XRP loses $9 cleanly. 110 becomes resistance. Volume rises on continual selling. Bitcoin continues dragging the market down. XRP starts testing the dollar psychological zone. Do not marry a support level, respect it, watch it, but don't move in and start paying rent. So, the bullish XRP takeover narrative, XRP ETFs and institutional attention. Now, let's talk about why XRP keeps making headlines even when the chart is ugly. Ripple has been leaning hard into the institutional narrative. They say XRP ETFs marks a new institutional era. That matters because ETFs are not just retail hype. ETFs are access. ETFs are plumbing. ETFs are how traditional investors get exposure without needing to manage wallets. private keys, or crypto exchanges. Let me be clear. ETF attention does not mean XRP goes to $100 tomorrow. Institution access is bullish for long-term structure, not a guaranteed weekend pump. Do you think XRP ETFs are the biggest catalyst for XRP, or is utility bigger, type ETF or type utility? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. So, who is buying Zibek now? Gonna make bank. I made a mistake with Bitcoin. I will not make the same with XRP. Stay strong. You're right, Andre and Tony, right? This is when you buy, not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes. But literally, you buy when the price is down, right? People want to run in and buy when it's green and the price is pumping. You don't make much money if you're buying it on the way up and it's already up, right? You're going to make your money when you buy when everybody else is selling and it goes back up. XRP utility token transactions and real finance. Ripple reported that the daily transactions on the XRPL hit 3 million on March 15th, 2026. They also said real world asset tokenization on XRPL had grown to more than 474 million. And that is the kind of stuff that we need to talk about. Not just price, not just memes, not just wind, moon, actual usage. Tokenized treasuries, stable coins, payment flows, and real world assets. That is where grown up money starts paying attention. Retail's asking win Lambos, institutional asking can this settle value, reduce friction, and plug into regulated finance. And that is when they have building and we have group chats. So RLUSD and the stablecoin narrative. RLUSD is another major part of the XRP Ripple story. Ripple says RLUSD is building momentum, and Binance listed RLUSD on Ethereum with XRPL support coming soon. Now, RLUSD growth does not actually pump XRP. Let's not lie to people, but it does strengthen Ripple payment and institutional DeFi narrative. Stablecoins are one of the clearest real world crypto use cases. People understand dollars moving fast, businesses understand settlement, banks understand liquidity, and that is why RLUSD matters. Stablecoins are not sexy, but neither is plumbing. Until the toilet stops working, then everybody cares about infrastructure. Ain't that the truth? The weekend technical analysis, XRP is moving up. This is not financial advice. This is structure, risk levels, and probability thinking. And this is the chart. Oh man, I ain't looking so hot on the 2 hour. So XRP is near $1.10, which is an emotional battlefield. Below that, panic increases. Above that, bulls have a chance to defend. Support levels to watch: $1.09 to $1.10. This is the intermediate support zone. XRP touched near $1.09 intraday. So this is the area already being tested. $1 is a big psychological support. If XRP loses $1.09, traders will start watching $1 hard. So let's see. This is the dollar. I wonder how many lines they'll let me put on here. See if we can get to dollar. That's close enough. What is this? and move this over. This is the, dang it. Dang it. Come on. Come on. Let me see here. Let me see. Where's the line here? Was this $1.27? And this is $1.40. And I don't guess we got to move the rest of these lines out. Let's go to $1.50 just for grins. See if we, come on, see if we can pump past the $1.50 just for grins. Okay, so this is the new, let's change the colors, bad boy. So this is the $1.27 range. And this is the dollar. The next psychological level down. And why can we never get right on the dollar? So possible deeper downside zone if the market continues selling and a dollar fails, $1.92 and $1.95. The resistance levels to watch is $1.13. First short-term reclaim level. If XRP gets above $1.13 a holds, that suggests buyers are stepping back in. So $1.17 to $1.18 is the recent high areas. XRP reached $1.18 intraday. So reclaiming that would be a stronger recovery level. So where is the $1.17? Somewhere in here. The momentum confirmation is $1.25, which is here. XRP reached a, wait. If XRP pushes above $1.18 and attacks the $1.25, the shakeout argument gets much stronger. So bullish weekend scenario for XRP to move up this weekend, I want to see three things. First, XRP must hold $1.09 to $1.10 zone, which we seem to be holding slightly. Second, XRP must reclaim the $1.13, which is here, which real buying volume with real buying volume. Third, Bitcoin needs to stop bleeding because XRP is not usually going to throw a parade while the whole market is on fire. If those three things happen, XRP can make a relief move back toward $1.17, $1.18, and if momentum gets stronger, $1.25 becomes the next major target. So bearish weekend, if XRP loses $1.09 and cannot reclaim $1.10, then the market probably starts hunting the dollar level. If the dollar fails, people are going to start screaming again. XRP does not need hype this weekend. XRP needs confirmation. ZBCN is king of PayFi. Thank you, Toshi. So, I think we're gonna watch. Let me see. Yeah, let's start with digital asset, and then we'll go to Ripple, and then maybe Stock Mo. But let's start with digital asset investor.
Hey, everybody, this is the digital asset investor, and crypto is dead, and XRP is dead, and everybody's freaking out, but I'm not. And I haven't freaked out in over 10 years, and I'm not freaking out now. Vet says people call for the death of crypto right before the biggest regulatory clarity for crypto. Come on, folks. That's kind of where I'm at. Come on, folks. People need to grow up, especially the ones that have been here a while.
And that's what we were talking about earlier, right? Every time something major is coming, there's a lot of bad news, right? There's a lot of FUD and shakeout information because they're trying to get people to sell cheaply so they can buy it, right? Let's get back to it.
This XRP Arthur, he says XRP at 116. Let me show you what I actually see. He's basically saying descending trend line from all-time high, already broken, $1 still sitting there, full of liquidity. My read, the market is going to hunt that $1, maybe slightly lower, just enough to break retail psychology. Then the retail move starts. I hope it does hit $1. I hope it hits a little bit below it. I will be backing up. I will literally be backing up the truck, men. Okay, listen to that intro, and we'll talk about how they're trying to make you feel like it's dead. It's a trick. It's a trap. Listen to that intro.
Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Okay, we've got Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy. He's freaking out, but I think he's also smart enough to hold and or buy the dip.
Crypto's a little on sale right now. It's a lot on sale. It's a lot on sale. The last week has been a friggin' disaster. And this is true, Marcus Dip. People panic. I'm panicking. All right?
Not me.
Hat wiped up.
I think he's a little into the dramatic. I think that's part of his whole shtick. Wait, we can't have Michael Jackson music on here. We got to go forward. Start talking.
If streets, that's when you buy. That's when you have to have the diamond hands. That's when you have to be like, all right, everyone else is bailing, jumping overboard. I'm saying crypto. What it's at 63,000. XRP, $1.17. That's the two I own. I own a ton of Bitcoin, a good amount of XRP, and I'm losing millions. I'm losing millions. I bought MSTR like a week ago when it was already crashing. MicroStrategy, I'm like, all right, it's going to be, I'm losing millions. I'm at Saratoga on the track. I'm betting nothing matters. It's like, oh, I lost this race. I lost that race. I won this race. I won that race. Don't matter. I'm getting hammered in crypto. I have not made a cent in crypto. I've gotten whacked in crypto. Some things are like oil and water.
Hey, everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and crypto is dead, and XRP is dead, and my read the Wait, we can't have Michael Jackson.
I lost this race. I lost that race. I won this race. I won that race. Don't matter. I'm getting hammered in crypto. I have not made a cent in crypto. I've gotten whacked in crypto. Some things are like oil and water, and me and crypto are oil and water. Now, I'm not going to sell. I'm going to hold. I'm scared. You have people on my timeline be like, Dave, this is when you buy. Other people like, it has no utility. It's going to zero.
Bitcoin doesn't.
So wait a minute. So in this whole rant, he just told you he ain't going to sell, right? All that ranting and all that talking and all that crypto is not making money and I can't make money in crypto. He literally just told you he ain't selling, right? So just listen, right? Pay attention, guys. Pay attention.
Dinner one time with Jack from X, who originally had X, right? Jack was originally the X guy. He's like, it's going to 1 million. I don't know what's going on. But if you have diamond hands and you have some nuts and some balls, crypto is on sale. Market's dip. People panic. I'm panicking. Suddenly everyone.
Okay, you've seen enough of that. You get the picture. This is going to be, it's just part of it. It's part of it. Now, some guys like Charles Hoskinson are cracking.
So this year's going to be very hard. The second half of the year for Cardano, we're probably going to see more dApps in DeFi die and a consolidation happen. I'm not exactly sure what my role or place is to resolve this. You know, I keep getting criticized relentlessly online. People every single day post on my Twitter feed the price of ADA and blame me for it collapsing. And I'd really like to know, I just like to understand.
Who is still listening to this guy, right? This guy literally abandoned his project, came back and blamed the project, then came back and had a lot of weird stuff to say about the project, then came back and said he's still in the project. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Out of all the crypto, I guess, owners or founders, this guy is probably the worst, right? I would not support anything he was part of just for the fact that he's waffles so much with his own crypto. Like, bro, are you in it or are you not in it, right? Why would you continually FUD your own project and then come back and think people are going to buy into it? You don't even support the own project. Why would somebody else support it, right?
Understand what my agency is here. I don't have any special powers with Cardano. I don't have any governance keys. I don't have any ability to even initiate a hard fork, much less a protocol parameter change. I don't have access to the treasury. I don't even own the trademark for the name Cardano.
Wait a minute. So you got no power in Cardano, and ain't that your project? I don't understand what he's talking about. Does anybody? I mean, I was big on Cardano for a while, and then I started actually listening to this guy, Charles Hodgkins, and I was like, no, I got to find something else to invest in. There's no way I'm putting my money with this guy, and this guy didn't even support his own project.
All of the funding that was given for growing the ecosystem and governing the ecosystem was given to separate entities. And at the all-time high, it was billions of dollars. It was not given to me. So how can I exactly influence and grow and solve this problem for you? I'm being honest here, and I really would love to see an answer here. What power do I have? What control do I have over this?
Folks, you're probably starting to notice a little bit of a pattern here. You got Cardano, it's fallen below 20 cents. He says he's taking a break. Here he is, he's pleading, and he's saying, I need some ideas. What can we do wrong? Well, here's my idea, Charles. You don't go out on social media and start bashing the president of the United States and bashing David Sachs and everybody that's working on the Clarity Act and try to kill the Clarity Act. You don't do any of that. That's step one.
So everybody take a week and just think about it. Talk amongst each other. Look at the leaders you have and the direction you're going in. And this is a call to action. And my only request is you just get tired of it and say we need a change. And there's a lot of things we can.
You know what this guy's problem is? I've seen it before in my life. The guy needs to stay in his lane. He's obviously a very smart guy and founder of Cardano. That does not make him a sales guy. He needs to quit being the sales guy for Cardano.
So I agree with the digital asset investor 150,000%. Why is this guy even talking, right? If he's the founder of Cardano, why would you FUD your own project? One. Two, why are you saying you don't have any control or you don't know anything if you're the founder? Bro, you're not helping the situation at all. Why don't you just take a break, go on vacation, and let the professionals handle this, right? Because this don't even make sense. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you still FUDing the project, and why aren't you being positive about it?
And understand that other people are better at certain things than you are. I mean, it's so obvious. Dom Quox tells the truth. Real leaders don't take breaks and disappear when things get tough. Charles Hoskinson's taking a break. You should be noticing a pattern about now, folks. Now MicroStrategy is facing its biggest unrealized loss in history, 10.8 billion. And I've told you many times, this is how this ends for Michael Saylor. He's either going to be in a padded room or he's going to be mega wealthy. And I think that he's going to be saved by the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, if he's saved at all. Crypto Insight UK is right over the target here. You know, I just realized that you couldn't see my great graphic. Yeah, you could. Okay, you could see it. I'm sorry. Something I can't get my mind around right now. What if the market is actually coming after Michael Saylor? Bitcoin doesn't have a fixed price, and Saylor now has a dividend obligations through stretch. Lower Bitcoin goes, the more pressure there could be to sell, which could create a feedback loop that pushes the price even lower. And I keep getting back to the tweet from Jack Dorsey where Michael Saylor's picture morphed into Bitcoin and into XRP. What's that about? We never really got an explanation. Is this that moment? Is there a pivot coming? A Saylor forced into the position nobody expects? Or is market simply, well, Crypto Insight UK is right over the target. Are you noticing, folks, that right as now Cardano has questions, Ethereum, the guys over at the Clueless podcast, otherwise known as the Bankless podcast, they've lost faith in Ethereum. Bitcoin's having problems. Guess who's not having problems? Guess who? Everywhere you look, there's a new announcement that's a positive announcement. That would be Ripple and XRP. But this Bitcoin Strategic Reserve might be designed to save Saylor for this moment.
And I couldn't agree more with you that economic security is national security. I gave a speech at the Reagan Library outlining my thoughts on that and how for 25 years the U.S. has been asleep. And under President Trump's leadership, we are moving forward very quickly on that. And part of that is our digital assets initiative. The Strategic Bitcoin Reserve is something, this is new technology, this is new ground. We are proceeding with all deliberate speed, and we are making sure that as we are doing this, in this complicated process, that we use best practices and things will be durable for the future. I look forward to working with you and your team on that. Absolutely. And I look forward to the Clarity Act being passed this summer.
Me too. Have you wondered, folks? I've always wondered if the ultimate plan was to put Bitcoin on the XRP ledger. Sheesh Burley here at XRP Las Vegas with Ray Fuentes. He makes a comment that makes you wonder.
Speaking on early adoption, you were very early yourself. When was that aha moment for you?
So like early on, I used the XRP wallet, and within seconds, I could get US dollars, and I could send someone, Bitcoin through the XRP ledger, and it was done in one step, and that was magic. Where else can you actually have an active market via the XRP DEX, and you can have an off ramp into a different system, and it all happens seamlessly? I mean, that was an aha moment. But I'll tell you, the new aha moment is to actually see, you turn on CNBC today, and how many segments are they running on blockchain? How many segments are they running about all the new tokenized funds that are coming out? It is absolutely crazy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so that is my second aha moment. So my first one is, this is going to be revolutionary and just using the technology directly. And the second one is, wow, I didn't think I would see the day where you see XRP in the tick.
Okay, I couldn't get unmuted there. So this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, is how you sell your crypto, right? This is the CEO of Evernorth. And you see he only has positive things, not fear, uncertainty, and doubt, confusion about the project, right? He's nothing but positive and upbeat. This is what you're supposed to do for your project, right? And I'm back, Evernorth, 50% because they seem to know what they're doing, right?
Their symbol on the bottom of CNBC or Bloomberg, and then you see so many segments online. That's been so fun.
Oh yeah, it's fun, all right. And then this is, of course, these are the I'll pull that up. This is David Hoffman. He's one of the Clueless podcast guys, and he's sitting here questioning Ethereum. So I'm just making the point. He says, don't consider this dunking. My main frustration and many others is the inability for the Ethereum community to see why its position it's in. The ETH is constantly conflated with Ethereum. Financial performance constantly conflated with ideology. So at the same time that the XRP ledger seems to be rising, these others seem to be falling. And you have to wonder if that's how this story always was going to end. I'm making a prediction here. Ryan Selkis, who left crypto, he says he feels like he wasted a decade of his career on an industry with potential and high hopes, became a decrepit and an ineffective lifeboat right before we really needed to work. The resolution of the crypto experiment. Write it down, folks. When XRP wins this thing, guys like Ryan Selkis are going to say that crypto failed, and this is evidence of it. You can go ahead and write that down, folks. It's going to happen. Now, here's Cynthia Loomis talking Clarity Act.
It's been 3 weeks since banking advanced its portion of the Clarity Act out of committee, and the White House has said that they would like to see this get done before the July 4th recess. Given all the competing priorities for floor time right now, do you see that as realistic?
I think it's possible, but maybe more likely we finish it before the August recess. We have a number of things to deal with. We have to wrap the banking committee bill with the Ag Committee's bill, with the ethics provisions, with some changes to the Genius Act, the bill that passed last year. And so to get all of those pushed into one bill and then get the 60 votes necessary for cloture on the floor of the Senate might take a little more time than the 4th of July, but we passed the Working Families Tax Cut bill last year in record time. So it's not impossible.
All right. I wanted to remind everybody, Caleb and Brown is one of my sponsors, and they're a sponsor for a reason. I love it. I get to have my own broker. I can email him. I can send him a direct message through the app. I can also call him on the phone. But I also get free institutional custody. I don't have to worry about my stuff. They have top-notch security, and I get the institutional liquidity that I want when the time comes. Listen to this.
Exchanges are a very important infrastructure in this industry. They provide access to liquidity, but for high net worth individuals, they're typically looking for something more than just an interface. They're looking for a broker that has accountability, they have reliable execution, they also have knowledge. And this is especially relevant in volatility. We've seen moments in the markets where platforms have outages, and this is where high net worth individuals come to Caleb Brown because we never lock out any of our clients during these high volatile moments. Our model is also relationship driven, always there for our clients if they need to talk about portfolio construction, their risk tolerances, if they want to talk about trading strategies or execution. Their personal broker understands their risk profile, they understand the liquidity, and they also understand what their financial objectives are. And these are all things that you don't get through an exchange.
Okay, if you haven't done so, what you do is you go to xrpwealth589.com. That's xrpwealth589.com. And then that will forward you to my page here on Caleb and Brown. You just click sign up today. Even if you want to keep all your stuff on a Ledger Nano S or a hard wallet, you can also have that and then just open an account and have it set up so that when you're ready to go on and trade, you can do so. Now, while all that negativity is going on, look at this from Ripple X. XRPL EVM sidechains now live with Ripple USD, key part of the multi-chain expansion. XRPL EVM sidechain combines compatibility with existing EVM developer tools while remaining closely connected. As RLUSD becomes available across these environments, XRP can increasingly serve as a complementary asset for liquidity, settlement, swaps, collateral, and payments, thereby strengthening the utility of XRP and RLUSD across supported chains. And then there was this. RLUSD is an institutional-grade infrastructure payments tokenization through Wormhole native token transfers. RLUSD can now move natively across multiple blockchain ecosystems, supporting cross-border payments, institutional on-off ramps, tokenization, use cases. It is on like Donkey Kong, folks, for the XRP ledger, while everything else seems to be floundering. Now, there's another theory that's going around out there, and that is that a lot of reason the money is leaving crypto right now is because people are going into SpaceX and some of these things. Coinbase launched pre-IPO perpetual futures with SpaceX, but I've seen this theory being floated around out there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to daixrp.com. That's the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join below any of these videos. If you'd rather join through X, hit subscribe. We do the full video plus the extended video with no commercials in there. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment.
So shout out to the digital asset investor for those updates. Now we're moving on to crypto. Bullwinkle. Happy Friday. Thank you, Moonfeather. So what is your prediction on if the market is shaking out or if we are getting ready for a breakout? What does the astrological signs tell us?
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. I got some interesting information for you today. You're going to want to stick around for this one. Look, 3 days ago, Robinhood. Yes, Robinhood. I'm sure you heard of them, right? 27 million users, 345 billion in assets. They just launched something that most people are trading as a fintech headline. They're letting AI agents trade stocks on your behalf automatically without you ever pressing a button. Now that's interesting, but it's not the story I want to tell you today. The story is what happens when those AI agents, when they need to move value across blockchains, when they need to actually convert currencies, when they need to settle transactions in milliseconds. What happens, folks? This economy is projected at $15 trillion in B2B commerce alone. What happens when they start executing trades and payments at a scale that no human could possibly manage? Because I'll tell you right now, every single one of those transactions, it needs a settlement layer. Every single one needs a bridge. And while retail investors are busy staring at the price chart and panicking about the freaking Clarity Act, the world's biggest institutions are quietly building the infrastructure that will absorb your XRP the moment you decide to sell it, and you won't even see it coming.
I've been following FortisX for quite some time, and what I like is that they continue to move towards greater transparency and security. Their platform is designed for long-term holders who want to put assets like XRP to work through liquidity pools and simply instead of keeping them idle. Over the past months, the team has completed audits with CertiK and Cyberscope, and they made the company publicly visible through SEC Edgar filings. And recently, they launched a 50,000 CertiK bug bounty program so independent security researchers can test the platform. They clearly keep investing in security and transparency, which is exactly what you want to see from a project, folks. If you've been holding XRP for the long term, and you want to learn more, check out the link.
Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that infrastructure looks like and why being built on the XRP ledger right now. And it's unlike anything we have ever seen before. As always, folks, do me a solid. You see that? Press it. Press that thumbs up. It takes 2 seconds. It really supports this channel for free. And it tells YouTube, push this thing out. There's no reason we're not getting over 1,000 likes on the videos, folks. I need each and every single one of you to help. So let's talk about this. This comes from American Banker, okay? And we'll give you the quick context behind this and behind the Robinhood launch, because the headline, it undersells it dramatically. It just says Robinhood bets on ETH trading. Yeah, okay, guys. Why don't you really tell everyone what's going on? So Robinhood, they didn't just launch an AI trading feature. They launched the first mainstream consumer product that makes an AI agent an authorized financial participant. Think about that. Not as an advisor, not some dashboard, an agent that can open orders, execute trades, and make purchases with or without a human approval. Look, we got the car that can drive itself. Now we got an AI agent that can do all your trades on your behalf without you ever being there. It's getting crazy out here. Now look, the guardrails are already there, right? There's dedicated accounts. You got spending limits, real-time fees, but the door is open. And what's coming through that door is a flood of autonomous financial activity that no legacy system was built to handle. Swift can't even handle the money it's doing today. They got to keep money all over the world and they need 3 days just to play catch up. Who's going to handle this one? Robinhood's system currently supports equities only, right? But their own announcement confirms that crypto, options, futures, and more are on the way. And AI agents will be buying and selling digital assets, including XRP, autonomously in milliseconds, 24 hours a day. Now, multiply that across the entire AI economy, right? McKinsey and Gardner, they projected 15 trillion in B2B over the next coming 3 years. Think about that. So the question always is, which blockchain infrastructure handles that volume? The answer being built right now on the XRP ledger, it's extraordinary. And I bet you haven't even noticed it yet. Now, have you? May 26, just a couple of days ago, the XRP Ledger Foundation, they published a new standard, AMM V2. This isn't a minor update. This is a complete overhaul of how liquidity works on the XRP Ledger's DEX. So let me break this down in plain English. And remember the first story we just spoke about, because this is tying into it. So the current XRP Ledger, AMM, it uses a constant.
So definitely not financial advice. But Moonfeather, there's going to be a breakout, but not for all cryptos. I'm looking towards July, but I say if your favorite crypto goes on sale, buy it. And of course, not financial advice. We're not financial advisors, but just for entertainment purposes, I think so too. I think something is going to run soon. I can't confirm which cryptos or what cryptos, but if you have conviction in certain cryptos, now would be when you can double down, right? Because now is close to the next move up, right? Because it's always, if you've seen the pattern, there's always a crash, there's always a lot of FUD, people get out, and then, like you said, your institutional buyers are waiting for you to give up, and they're going to buy it down low and wait and sell it right back to you. But this is not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes. On Monday, I was talking about certain cryptos that are going to do well for the upcoming bull run, and XPX was one of them. 3 days later, it pumped 103%. I'm just saying, I need to check your channel out because I definitely missed that XPX one. But I'm gonna keep an eye on. Got my trusty notebook handy, because I'm making notes, and I'll definitely go back, because for some reason you can't copy and paste stuff out the freaking videos, so you got to write it down, get a notepad ready, so you can circle back to these cryptos and do your own research and your own due diligence. Don't buy it because we talked about it or mention it. Buy it because you know what it is and you have faith in it and you understand your risk.
Product model. What that means is it's the same basic design as your early decentralized exchanges. It works, but it's not optimized for institutional scale. Large trades, too much slippage. That's a DEX, right? Can't handle big moves. That's why you see massive green and massive red, because they can't handle it. AMM B2, this will introduce 2 new curve types, and this will get big. You can see it up on your screen. 1, concentrated liquidity. This is inspired by Uniswap. This is liquidity providers that can focus their capital into specific price ranges. The result, higher capital efficiency, more trading volume per dollar deposited, and better handling of your volatility pairs. That is exactly what institutional markets need. And number 2 is your stable swap. That's a flat curve that's near the 1-to-1 peg. It's designed for stable coins, real world assets, and FX pairs. All right. Think about RLUSD trading against USDC or tokenized yen trading across tokenized dollars. You're probably like, but Rip, why does this matter, man? Why does this matter for XRP? Simple. Every transaction on these new polls, they still use XRP as the auto bridge asset for the instant token conversion. Every new poll, every new transaction, every new institutional use case. This isn't just an upgrade. It is the XRP ledger building the liquidity infrastructure that multi-trillion-dollar institution volume activity actually requires. Now we jump over this. February 5th, Ripple put out this article, Institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger. Let's talk about this. People haven't connected this yet. And look, I always tell you, when Ripple puts out a piece of news, you always need to go back and revisit it because you'll find out down the line what came from it and you need to connect it back. Okay, let's scroll down and look at this real quick. So the XRP ledger is rolling out native lending protocol as part of version 3.1. It's going to introduce single asset vaults, pools where institutions deposit a single asset like XRP or even RLUSD, and then they form a lending system called XLX66. I'm sure you heard about that. That will enable your fixed term underwritten loans with your automated repayments. And here's what Ripple's own documentation states about Evernorth. Remember, Evernorth is big into this, right? Because the massive financial service company and their plans about this is that they will utilize the lending protocol to generate institutional grade yield on its extensive XRP holdings. Institutional grade yield. I don't even know what institutional grade yield means, but I want a part of it. On their XRP holdings, all on chain, all locked in vaults. Now think about what that does to supply, folks. When institutions start depositing XRP into lending vaults to generate yield, that XRP is not available for trading. It's locked up. It generates returns. And the more use cases that the protocol adds, the more XRP that gets locked up. What happens when it's locked up? There's less supply sitting on an exchange. If there's less supply sitting on an exchange, less money needs to come in to move that price up. That's how you get a supply shock. Think about
Yeah, he explained that perfect, right? As you lock it up in your vaults, in your self-custody wallets, when it's off the exchange, the value is still there because you're holding it, right? People don't understand moving it off exchanges will help you because the value is there and it's being held, right? They know the token is being held somewhere, so that creates supply shock because there's less on the exchanges, and that's what ultimately pushes the price up. And yes, Moonfeather, you can't copy and paste on YouTube, which is crazy, but I suspect it's all part of design. They want you to go back and watch the video, right? And watch it again and again, because if you're trying to find something like a ticker sign or an update or a link, right, you got to watch it over and over, which gives more views and generates them more money. These guys are evil geniuses. I'm pretty sure someone thought this out years and years and years in advance, did tons of market research so they can figure out it doesn't make sense to let people copy and paste when you can force them to come back to watch the video, right? And watch it over and over and over. I'm just saying, right? It's always some weird person in the background that's spending days doing the research and then, oh yeah, we shouldn't let you copy and paste when we can make you come back and watch the video again. But I digress. XRP is at $1.11, so we are coming back up. Come on. Is it? This says $1.10. See here. Yeah. Wait for that data to load, but let's get back to the video.
An advisor
about that. Every vault deposit removes supply from circulation. The more that these assets are used for collateral and margin, the more scarce that they become. Well, that is where this is going. This is the scarcity engine that's being built right now, and a lot of people just look at it and they kind of, shrug it off. Not through just buying pressure alone, through the actual utility that locks the supply at the protocol level.
Morning,
that is massive.
guys.
Which brings us over to this. Now, when you eventually to decide your XRP, say at 10, 50, or even $300, whatever your number is, it doesn't matter. You're going to place that sell order on an exchange, right? And you're going to hope that it gets filled. There's no slippage, easy come, easy go. You have no headaches. You get in and out. And then you're going to cross your fingers and keep refreshing your bank account, hoping it gets there. We all are, right? But here's what you won't see on the other side of that trade. You won't see another retail investor buying your XRP because they think the price is going up. What will be waiting on the other side is going to be a 10 billion corporate clearing transaction, $1 trillion FX conversion, a financial institute, a bank transfer, needing bridge liquidity across a currency corridor that has no direct market. Your sell order, that one that's going to hopefully feel life-changing to you, will dissolve into a liquidity pool, absorbing billions per second. Your XRP will flow directly into the AMM V2 pool that we just talked about. It'll go into institutional vaults and lending protocols operated by the world's largest financial players. They're not buying it as a speculative bet. They're sourcing it because your tokens need a pre-transaction, folks. It means you get lower slippage. You get better capital efficiency. That's not a community narrative. That is the core mechanic of on-demand liquidity. Every single vault that's being built right now, every lending protocol, every AMM, every AI agent that will be running cross-border treasury operations, all of them are building the infrastructure that's going to absorb your sell orders without you blinking. The institutions
Every day
don't need
you
the
get
price
online.
to be high to make money. They need the price to be high so the engineering behind all of this works. And then let me address the elephant in the room, because everyone is fixated on the Clarity Act and the timeline. President Trump, okay, he just said, we will codify a future-proof digital asset market structure that cannot be undone by the crypto haters. Brad Garlinghouse responded immediately. And you know what Garlinghouse said? He said the anti-crypto army was defeated not only by the courts, but by the voters and by Trump. It never made legal policy or political sense. And he's right. He's 100% right. Tom Emmer, he chimed in as well. He says having the stablecoin bill without the market structure bill is like having a cell phone without the towers. Spot on. The Genius Act, that's your stablecoin towers. Already signed. It's done. And it had the same theater that the Clarity Act is going through. The Clarity Act is the rest of the infrastructure. And when the president is personally pushing for it, and the Treasury Secretary, which you see on your screen right here, so what were they saying here? Treasury Secretary, let's get back to him for a second. When he's saying get it done today, and the Senate Bank Committee is already at 15-9, the political will is there. But here's the point that the people are missing. The infrastructure that's being built on the XRP ledger doesn't wait for Congress. The AMM V2 protocol proposal just dropped this week. The lending protocol is rolling out. Evernorth is preparing to lock its XRP in institutional vaults, and the DTCC goes live in 45 days. Let me give you the complete picture of what the XRP ledger is becoming. Because when you see all these pieces together, it looks less like a payment network and more like a financial operating system. Payments, on-demand liquidity is 95 billion and it's growing 32% year over year, 70 plus active corridors, and 80% of the major global remittances routes, they're already covered. XRP is the bridge in every transaction. Tokenization, 2 billion in assets tokenized on the ledger. You got the DeFi AMM V2, privacy with zero knowledge proof. AI's coming, Yellow Network is building through all of it, and XRP is becoming the auto bridge asset, the fee-burning settlements token, the protocol level liquidity layer that's going to connect every single piece. Each transaction, folks, it burns through XRP. Look, we've said this before and we'll say it again. If you want to use the XRP ledger, you need to hold XRP. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is not a free network. You can't just come and go as you please. You will need to hold XRP. The banks, the financial institutions, they're not just going to buy 10 XRP and calculate how much money they can move how many times. They're going to hold it on their order books. They're going to hold it as a store of value, as a utility, as infrastructure, as something that can gain value over time. That is where this is going, everyone. Now, look, you got Robinhood, who launched AI agents. They're going to trade and spend on your behalf. This is going to be working 24 hours a day, no human interaction needed. They're going to need a settlement route. How are they going to settle? The DTCC is live in 45 days. XRP's price is down. Yeah, look, I get it. Do you see the institutions panicking? Do you see Ripple panicking? Do you see Evernorth panicking? Do you see these ETF issuers panicking? Of course not. There's no reason to panic. We all know how this story ends. Just a matter of when do we get there? Is it this year? Is it next year? That's all this comes down to. You got to hold strong, man. I've been holding for 10 years. 10 years. Still diamond handing. I know what happens at the end of the day. Look, I'm going to leave it there. As always, none of this is financial advice. It never is, and it never will be.
So shout out to Ripple Bullwinkle. He's right. Nobody's panicking, but the retail investors that bought the XRP or your crypto at the all-time highs, right? The institutions are still here and they're still buying it up. Moonfeather, Stellar, Monero, Dash, XP, XARRR, VIA, XTZ, IOTA, was it AOTX, ONT, ATP, and APE are my picks for some nice ups for 2026. Not financial advice. Definitely not financial advice. This is just for entertainment purposes, but there are some heavy hitters on this list. And keeping it moving, shout out to Moonfeather. Go check her out on the YouTube channel. And this is Digital Outlook. Let me see if I can find that actually while we are here. Okay, might need to spell that right the first time. Let me see. Triple check in here. That's weird. Okay, that's weird because I don't see it. But I guess we will get back to Digital Outlook.
Welcome to Coffee Chat. Oh, it is delicious. And by the way, if you wonder why I show my coffee after I do that, it's because for a while there, folks would come on and say, oh, there's no coffee in the cup. Oh, it's just this and that. I'm just like, people are really crazy. You know what I mean? But any case, guys, I'll tell you, it's Friday, and what a fabulous Friday it is. Look, right now, of course, there's a lot of stuff going on in the space, and of course, a lot of panic, just going right through the whole, ecosystem. In fact, watched a video of Charles Hoskinson. The guy was practically in tears, and I'm thinking, what is going on? The guy is cracking as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, guys, now is the time. Now is the time. You see, this is a time that we pounce. This is not the time when we panic. Judy and I'm telling you what, when we did it when the dips came. And think about it, for everyone who's bought XRP, did you buy your XRP just because you thought it was only going to go up a couple bucks or stuff like that? Even if you bought it at the top at 366, did you buy it because you were hoping that, oh, well, maybe it's going to go to $5 or $7? Most of us didn't, guys. Most of us that really believe in XRP are here for the big money, the triple digits and beyond. And I do believe that those days are coming. But when you see days like today, And of course, they want you to think that the whole thing is going to zero. But I'm going to tell you guys, when you pull back the curtain and you see all of the infrastructure that the major central banks around the wide world have invested in the space into the tens of billions. And of course, the regulatory clarity piece, the MiCA regulations overseas, and of course, right now, the Clarity Act and all that going down. And what they're trying to line up, you know that the thing is actually going to be taking over the entirety of the global financial system. Yet right now, they want you and I to be absolutely terrified. Well, now is not the time for that kind of panic. As far as I'm concerned, when things are down, that's when I'm up. I'll tell you why, because boy, the accumulation goals that we can actually achieve when we're down here, because I'll tell you what, when do you want to be buying, all of your assets? When they're at what may be the bottom. And if we even go lower, look, we will buy more. That's how Judy and I are doing it and building up those positions. So when it does move, that's when it becomes life-changing. And I'll tell you what, I understand it. I understand the fear. I understand the panic. I understand the anxiety. Boy, do we ever. Judy and I were there taking our life savings at a time when all this was going down, and boy, life was uncertain at the time. But we kind of saw what was coming, and we figured after we got into it and actually got rug pulled, we lost tens of thousands, we got scammed. Well, needless to say, we just started to investigate, research. I had all that time. Remember, they sent everybody home during COVID? Well, I was spending my time literally hours upon hours in front of that computer, researching, digesting, and everything like that. We got so convinced that every time we had a chance to put money in, we did. And I squeezed every lemon we could, being an outdoorsman kind of guy. Well, I sold every gun. I sold my safe. I sold my bullets, sold my gear. I squeezed every lemon I could to get what I had into the space. And boy, oh boy, did it ever revolutionize our lives. And if you think for 5 seconds that we thought that the little that we were putting in was going to turn into those millions, no, guys, we did not. But it happened. And boy, did it ever change our world. And that's why when I see numbers like this, it reminds me exactly what it felt like back there. And you've heard my story, how we put in multiple 5 figures the day before the SEC had dropped its lawsuit. Talk about bad timing. And the whole thing collapsed, literally, massively, dropped down to that 17.48 cents. Well, you know what we did? We just bought. And 4 months later, thing was $1.97, a 1,200% return. And right when you're in the fear, like we are in right now, that's when it feels like it's going nowhere. But where do you think the best time to buy is? Well, of course, you buy low, you sell high. But that is not how most retail react. It is not, guys. It isn't. And these big time players, do they ever know it? And will they prey on your fear? Oh, yes, they will. The psychology of this market, if you're not aware of it or you're not ready for it, it will eat you alive. It'll eat you alive. And the thing is this, guys, the big players are out gobbling it up like crazy. They are. You want proof of that? You go take a look at these blockchain explorers. You take a look last month at these whale wallets and how much they held, and you compare it by the end of this month where they're at. I'm telling you what, you are going to see that they have just accumulated into the millions, if not the tens of millions or even the hundreds of millions. They are. That is what they're doing. Why? Because they know darn well where we're going, and that's why. And so when I see days like today, like I say, that's when we pounce. It is not when we panic. That is for sure. And guys, long term, over the whole course of what we've been through. Now, we have been through some major amounts of issues in the time that Judy and I have been in. Of course, the SEC lawsuit we were in before then. And of course, all this other stuff that has gone down that we have seen on and on and on. Every type of FUD you can imagine, we have heard. Do you know what? Most of that FUD was completely false. It was absolutely wrong. And when they said, oh yeah, XRP, like I say, is going to become a security, no, that didn't happen, did it? Oh well, the SEC is going to get their interlocutory appeal approved. Nope, didn't happen. Oh, when they were saying back at the time, you're never going to see an XRP ETF. Well, we've seen lots of them. And on and on and on it goes. Oh, there's never going to be any companies out there that would put XRP in a strategic reserve. Well, really? There's about 11 or 12 different SPACs, special acquisition corps like, Evernorth, with literally what? I think they got almost $1 billion into XRP. Come on, you cannot make this stuff up. But this is how it goes down every single solitary time. And we've been here before when the fear was at its max. Guys, I remember XRP, back there. Remember before the election? Bouncing between 38 and 52 cents, I think, tops, Anyway, so much FUD going on. And then all of a sudden, bang, it just shot off like crazy. And I do believe another major move is coming in. There is going to be a massive, massive appreciation in these assets. And so do a lot of technical analysts think the same thing. And you can read these articles for yourself. I put them in here, guys, so that you can see where I get it, that it's not just coming right out of the top of my head. No, I'm out there reading multiple articles a day, looking for ones that you and I would really be interested in and see where things are going. Because look, when we take a look, when in doubt, you zoom out, right? You kind of get that 100-mile view. And you start looking, but a lot of people, they're looking at the price. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. That's all they're focused on. And that is what they want you to be focused on. These major players. And guys, I'm telling you what, you can see the narrative. You can see the titles. You can see all this kind of stuff in the articles that get posted. You know, a lot of these major players are behind sponsoring a lot of these articles to get you and I to feel that. That's why I filtered through so many of them. But the deal is this. They know that it works because they have been doing it for decades. They have been doing it for decades. You got to be sharp, wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Know what you hold. Know the value of it. They want it, guys. They want your XRP. Do they ever? And do they want it cheap? Oh, yes, they do. And they will manipulate these If you don't think market manipulation, by the way, is going on, then guys, come on. You have not been around, because the reality is they absolutely manipulate the market. They manipulate the market using market makers. They manipulate the market by maximizing narratives. They manipulate the market every which way from Sunday they do. And we've watched it happen. And in this space, of course, the liquidations are insane. And that is why, we don't do any leverage trading or any of that kind of stuff. We go out there, we investigate, we make a decision, we buy, we hold, and then we reach goals. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Don't even take my word for it. Don't even take my own word for it, regardless how convicted I am. Don't make an investment based on anyone else's conviction. You owe that much to yourself to go out there and genuinely research it. Now, I believe when you do, your eyes are going to be open big time. And when this thing does pop off, and by the way, you watch and see. If we see a major drop, even more than what we are, let's say we do hit under $1, which I am amazed. I don't think we will, but if we do, hey, we're on that. But if that happens, you watch and see that when you're going out there to get all your buy orders, all the exchanges that'll be gummed up. Yep, they will. When there's any kind of major activity, whether we are going down or up, a lot of these exchanges, I'm talking Robinhood, Kraken, Uphold, Coinbase, you name it. What happens, guys? Well, they all get literally frozen. You can't seem to even get on the exchanges and that kind of stuff. And that is why I've encouraged you to get over there at Caleb and Brown and get a broker. It doesn't cost you a penny. And number one, you don't even have to close down your other accounts to open up another one. You need as many off ramps as you can have. And with Caleb and Brown, look, you can get on the phone and talk to your broker. You can email them. They have multiple accesses to exchanges, ways in which we don't. And as a result of that, guys, you can actually get into this market and do your orders, whether it's a buy order, a sell order, whatever you want to do. And that's the deal, because I'll tell you, when you're wanting to make a move and things are going like they are and the exchanges are down, whether it's when the price is down or when it is flying and you can't get on there, I'm going to tell you what, putting in all the effort that you have put in over the months and the years that you've been apart, how'd you like to wake up to the day that you see your goals being achieved, but you can't execute them because you can't even get on the exchange? It has happened. It has happened. That's why it's so vitally important. And guys, do not wait until that day comes, because I'll tell you what, you got to go through the KYC and the AML and all that. And a lot of times they don't have the ability to get through it all in the time frame that you want. So it's better to have your ducks in a row beforehand, isn't it? Now, we got a link in the description of every one of these videos that you can click on to get in there with Caitlin Brown. And like I say, it doesn't cost you a penny to open an account. Talk to your brokers many times as you like, even custody your assets over there. And there's no fee for that. The only time you pay a fee is when you buy and when you sell. But whether you choose that link or you actually go to Caleb and Brown to their own website and take a look at it, you owe it to yourself, guys, to make sure that look into that to see it could be a viable off-ramp for you when you're really going to need one. That's for sure. Don't get spooked. Don't get spooked. Judy and I were not even fizzled, not even one teensy weensy bit. And in fact, we're excited about it. You know why? Because we know what XRP is and we know what we hold. And you can literally see where we're going. I'll tell you what. So later on today, we're going to have another fantastic video in this space. And of course, on Substack, our members only, we're going to have an amazing video in there where we can really peel back the onion. See, the thing is, guys, you can't say.
So shout out to Digital Outlook, keeping it moving. This is In Cash Official. Brad Gitzenhouse ain't panicking either. He's born during the year of the pig, and 2027 is going to be their year, which makes to think XRP might be doing better for 2027. I'm just saying, thank you for the shout out. To take a bit of a hiatus, energies are calling to hustle a little bit harder. Energies are calling to hustle a little bit harder. No worries there, but thanks for those updates. And big shout out to Moon Feather Rising. Go check her out on YouTube. And this is In Cash. Be right back.
Narratives in the XRP community is obviously the supply shock narrative. Oh, XRP is going to be experiencing a supply shock overnight, or it's going to happen next week or next month. Listen, the main idea around the supply shock is that it's going to be a build up to it. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month. And again, this is very similar to a lot of like the large price predictions for XRP as well. Like all of those narratives, like people don't realize that, you know, we're still in a market where XRP is still pretty illiquid compared to like some of the higher value use cases that everyone wants it to target. But also, you know, we don't even have regulations. There's so much that still needs to be put in place. But I saw this post here from Sharu-san83 over on X, and he essentially broke it down. He said the concepts of revaluation and supply shock discussed for XRP are institutional theses based entirely on international banking mathematics, completely independent of crypto's classic bull-bear cycles or even speculative pump movements. For anyone who understands how a fintech project and the banking system operate and the liquidity mechanisms running in the background, this is not actually a price prediction, but a systemic algorithm of necessity. And yeah, I do agree with this. Like, if we really think about, you know, how this market is evolving, okay, the main thing that we're looking at is crypto's the future. There's no if and or buts about it. We know that crypto is the future of finance. Tokenization, stablecoins, all those kind of things, they will lead to a new financial system. In the case of that, if XRP is, you know, successful in what it's supposed to be doing, because again, Ripple is targeting high value, high volume use cases with XRP. If it's successful, it needs a higher price. It needs a higher price point. Does it need a $100 or $1,000 price point? Not exactly, but it definitely needs to be much higher than $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $10 at least. But we have here that once global regulatory clarity is fully established, the moment banks and financial institutions begin adding XRP to their balance sheets or even integrating on-demand liquidity pipelines. The actual floating supply in the market will be absorbed within seconds. When thousands of institutions simultaneously initiate transfers, hundreds of millions of XRP will constantly be in transit. And this is going to be between wallets completely drying up the available liquidity pool for trading. The supply shock begins as institutional demand drains the shallow market. Revaluation, on the other hand, ensures the scarcity turns into a global solution rather than a financial crisis by systemically forcing the price density required, which means, a 300, 589, or even a $1,000 plus XRP to carry that massive financial volume. Lately, we have been reading about Ripple's flawless agreements, one after another, just like all of you. I'm waiting. This post is written for informational purposes only and does not contain financial advice. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but let's just be real here, okay? The problem with the thesis around these crazy prices is that, we are all waiting here. We're watching the same thing unfold. Guys, I understand that a lot of you are frustrated. I understand that a lot of you are tired of the negative price action. I also am. I hold a crazy amount of XRP. I want XRP to go to, these crazy prices tomorrow. But I just know that that's not realistic. But the main bread and butter here around this space specifically is that we know what's going to happen. We know that the entire financial system is undergoing a rewiring. We know that some of these assets and some of these networks will be tapped in a big way, which is very exciting because we already have a clear path ahead. And XRP seems to be one of those main assets. But the main thing that I'm looking at here is the supply shock or even the revaluation method for XRP. I think that it all starts with one big thing, and that's the Clarity Act. The Clarity Act is advancing. The most significant crypto legislation in US history is moving through Congress and appears close to passage. This could unlock trillions in institutional capital, currently sidelined by regulatory uncertainty. Institutional capital held firm. So despite a 50% drawdown, professional investors proved to be diamond hands. ETF outflows were minimal compared to inflows. Major banks, including JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and even Bank of America, are now actively building crypto infrastructure. Quantum computing fears are overblown. Recent headlines spooked markets, but the reality is that Bitcoin uses the same cryptography as every bank, brokerage, and military system on Earth. This is a civilizational challenge, not a Bitcoin problem, and the industry is already preparing. Historical perspective, Bitcoin is down 46% from highs. It's a little bit more than that, well within the range of prior drawdowns that preceded major bull runs. Every previous drawdown occurred during periods of continued adoption. But yeah, I think that when we look at what's happening here, yes, the Clarity Act could unlock trillions of dollars. Even Coinbase said that for it to happen, though, a few potential catalysts would likely need to come to fruition. The biggest is the passage of the Clarity Act, a landmark piece of crypto legislation that is awaiting a full Senate vote. If it becomes a law, analysts believe that it could usher in trillions of dollars of institutional capital into the crypto markets, a resolution to the Iran conflict, which has led to subdued risk sentiment, could also prove a boon for Bitcoin. So yeah, if we think about Clarity, it's very bullish for XRP and these underlying assets, because if we are going to see trillions of dollars unlocked, that's going to be a crazy, crazy amount of capital that will easily affect the underlying values of a lot of these assets and the market itself. But to build on top of that, we also have over here from Chartner TA, which is 5 reasons why the Clarity Act could accelerate XRP adoption. And it goes back to the whole idea of supply and demand. Okay, if adoption is going to skyrocket for XRP, if we are going to see XRP demand go absolutely crazy, it's going to require a lot of the supply to be eaten up. But that's the craziest part about it, right? Because the supply will definitely be eaten up by the demand. But then you also mix in ETF products, retail buying and selling and things like that. There's so many different ways that the supply of XRP could shrink easily. But on top of that, we do have right? Evernorth's SEC 425 prospectus gave us 5 reasons to why the Clarity Act could accelerate XRP's adoption. Number 1, XRP's commodity status could be codified in federal law. Institutional capital gets the compliance certainty it has been waiting for. Stablecoin Clarity expands the toolkit for on-chain financial infrastructure. A defined token taxonomy gives XRP-based markets a legal scaffolding. U.S. legal clarity can set the global standard for tokenized capital markets. This information comes directly from the hub past the Clarity Act. And yeah, I mean, this could be huge for XRP. That's why when we look at the what if here, like, okay, what if, we'll say on the low end, $1 trillion enters the market. I don't think that that's a crazy amount, by the way, especially with all the names sitting on the sidelines waiting for this to pass. So $1 trillion enters the market. Okay, it bleeds into Bitcoin, then it starts to trickle down into Ethereum and other altcoins. I don't think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be the institutional, like, chosen ones. I still think that XRP is going to see a large amount of capital rotated into it simply because of how large of a factor there is behind XRP's compliance status, but also XRP's institutional status. Because you got to remember, like, XRP has always been deemed the banker's coin. And it's not because, oh, banks are adopting XRP or, you know, banks are trying to tap into XRP. It's because XRP was specifically designed for these large use cases that bankers will essentially want to tap into. But on top of that, like, across the board, we're seeing so much adoption for XRP. The main bread and butter, though, is the ETFs. Grayscale's MD of Research just dropped a number that should make every XRP holder pay attention. This is from Safe Crypto. Zach Pandal expects XRP ETFs to absorb 5 to 6% of the entire circulating supply. Guys, this is the entire circulating supply of XRP. That's not AUM or assets under management as a percentage of market cap. That's actual tokens locked into ETF structures. Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs are already there. And yeah, almost 1% of the XRP supply is already eaten up by ETFs. Imagine another, 4 to 5%. XRP is just following the same institutional playbook. Check this out.
Percent or so at any given month. I think probably that's the shorter term direction of travel for XRP. Other altcoins is heading in that direction of total assets, and then probably more growth over time. But I would expect to get to 5-6% of the outstanding circulating supply, and then we'll see. We'll see what investor appetite looks like over time.
When you say to 5 to 6% of outstanding supply of both assets, accumulative or each individual asset?
Meaning the XRP ETFs collectively hold 5 to 6% of the circulating supply of the XRP token. Something like that would be a big round number guess as a starting point. I think we're heading in that direction. I think XRP has seen, as you said, lots of demand. I think there's a good chance that or certainly a higher number in the ETF structure is possible.
CME Group is
percent or so.
So yeah, I mean, listen, the fact that he says this with such a serious look on his face tells me that no, he's not joking. He's not bluffing. He strongly believes that this is going to happen. We're talking about 5 to 6% of the entire circulating supply. That is a very large amount of XRP eaten up by just one factor. We're just talking about ETFs. And by the way, looking at the ETFs, yeah, we know that there's a lot happening behind them, because in the recent report from Asari Crypto, we do have here that ETFs are now holding over 775 million XRP. That's 1.3% of the entire circulating supply locked up by institutional players, and it grew 2% just last quarter. Canary, Bitwise, Franklin Templeton, 21 shares, and the list keeps getting longer. And talking about the list, yeah, I mean, we have over here 67 institutional holders in Bitwise XRP ETF, and almost all of them are new positions from Q1 of this year. And they're all locked in on, the XRP, game here. Like, XRP is the key focus point. And, it's all institutional powerhouses. Like, these are large names that are tapped in. They understand that XRP is going to be a very large asset. They understand the, facts behind it as well. I don't think people realize, like, the crazy network effect that can happen when you have the supply getting eaten alive from so many different factors. I didn't even mention the utility because, again, like when we think about the utility here, like yes, the ETFs have been very successful, but also think about like stablecoin usage. Think about tokenization on the XRP ledger and think about those tokenized assets moving 24/7, 365. Like all of that is demand for the underlying asset. Institutional DeFi, like these use cases are not going to be small time use cases. So when you mix that in with the ETF boom, with retail buying and selling as well, and trading XRP or whatever the case may be, and then you also think about AMM, pools. I mean, there's so much going on here. And that's where I look at the fact here is like, all right, I do think that a supply shock is inevitable. Like if we're really looking at the adoption phase of crypto, if we're looking at, how crypto is moving away from like the hype and speculative, phase of, what we are used to seeing into like a more utility, institutional driven cycle, XRP has so much potential. Probably the most potential out of almost all altcoins in this market, only because it's been around for well over, like we're talking about, 14 years of just consistent growth, constant movement, major moves happening around institutional players and just adoption from major banks and fintechs and things like that. Like XRP is ready for this. It's been ready for this. So I'm just waiting to see what happens here. I think that the biggest factor here is simply just the Clarity Act passing. I think that there's a lot of weight behind it. I think that there's a lot of potential for XRP. But yeah, when we think about revaluation, the supply shocks and things like that, I don't think that it happens overnight. And the whole idea of like revaluation, revaluation is essentially just simply XRP going up in value in a very fast way. Like we could argue back in November of 2024, going into like the beginning of 2025, a lot of altcoins were revalued in a very quick manner. And that's how fast things can change. So if we think about this, Clarity passes, we have institutional players flood in, we start to see major use cases scaling around XRP with the XRP ledger. Ripple obviously is a key leader here, an accelerator of that. I really do think that XRP, I think XRP could witness a supply shock. There's so many factors. There's so many different ways of the supply getting eaten alive that I just don't see how it's not possible. And I also don't see how it's avoidable either. Like I really do think that this is going to happen. And it all starts with one big domino falling, and that's, of course, the Clarity Act. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely would like to subscribe to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, Nick, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.
So shout out to the digital investor and everyone who joined the show today. And remember to keep holding your crypto, not financial advice. Don't get shaken out by the feathers. It's going to go down, guys. It's going to go down, but it's going to come up again. It will rise from the ashes like a phoenix. But thanks for joining. And thanks for your support. And as always, let's get back to the money, guys, and stay dangerous. And I'll try to get a Zubik video up later or live stream up later as well. But thanks for joining. And as always, let's get back to the money, guys, and stay dangerous. Miners out. Happy Friday.